This is a true story that happened in my town.
Very sorry, I am from... Very sorry, I am from...
My wife.
Have you ever wondered what you would do if, at the exact same time, every child in your neighborhood walked out of their homes in a trance, never to be seen again? That's exactly how our story begins. At precisely 2:17 a.m., 17 children from the same city mysteriously leave their homes, all running in the same direction, and vanish without a trace. Their houses were equipped with CCTV and alarms, but by the time their parents realized what was happening, it was too late. The only clue left behind was the eerie CCTV footage showing every child running with their arms outstretched like airplanes, all at the exact same moment, 2:17. What's even stranger is that all the missing children were from the same class at the same school. There were 18 students in the class, but only 17 disappeared. One child, for some unknown reason, was left behind. The investigation immediately focused on two people: their teacher, a woman named Justine, and the one child who didn't vanish, a boy named Alex. Police questioned Justine, Alex, and his parents, but the interviews led nowhere. A month passed and there was still no sign of the children. Now the story will unfold from the perspectives of our key characters, showing us everyone's side of this terrifying mystery. First, we see the events through the eyes of the school teacher, Justine. When she arrived at school one morning, she was shocked to find only one student, Alex, in her classroom. The other 17 desks were empty. She soon learned the horrifying news that all her other students had disappeared. As suspicion fell on her, Justine faced the anger of the grieving parents and a relentless police investigation. Though she was found innocent, the parents refused to believe it. They branded her a witch, claiming she used black magic to make her children vanish. The weight of these accusations drove Justine into a deep depression, and she began drinking heavily. The school was temporarily closed during the investigation, but reopened a month later for new students. Before classes resumed, a large parent-teacher meeting was held, and all the victims' parents were there. They continued to blame Justine, who pleaded her innocence. "I haven't done anything to the children," she cried. "I love them." The principal supported her, insisting she was innocent and a victim herself. But one parent, a man named Archer, stood up and relentlessly accused her, even calling her a witch to her face. The meeting quickly spiraled out of control, with parents lunging at Justine. The principal and security had to intervene, escorting her out and advising her to go straight home and stay inside for her own safety. Shaken, Justine drove home and turned to alcohol to numb the pain. Suddenly, her doorbell rang. She called out, but there was no reply. Peeking through the peephole, she saw no one. Confused, she checked the windows, but the street was empty. As she turned away, a loud, aggressive banging erupted at her door. "Who is it?" she yelled, terrified. "Don't you understand? Go away!" After a while, she mustered the courage to go outside with a wrench in her hand. Scrawled across her car in huge letters was the word witch.
The next morning, Justine went to the police station to file a report, where she ran into an officer who was an old friend. Later, at the school, the principal advised her to stay away for a while. "The situation is very bad," he said. "The parents are furious." Justine asked if she could at least speak to Alex, but the principal forbid it, urging her to keep her distance until things calmed down. That evening, she met her officer friend at a bar. Noticing a bandage on his hand, she asked what happened. He vaguely mentioned getting hurt during a strange case. Justine confessed her fears, telling him how everyone thinks she's a witch and how her car was vandalized. The officer tried his best to lift her spirits. The next day, Justine called him, insisting, "I think Alex knows something. We need to talk to him." But the officer shut her down, telling her to let the police do their job and stay out of it. Justine, however, couldn't let it go. She followed Alex home from school and watched him go inside. She rang the doorbell, but no one answered. She could have sworn she saw someone let him in, yet the house was completely silent, as if it were empty. Feeling that something was deeply wrong, she circled the house, but all the windows were covered with paper. Finally, she found a small tear in the paper on a back window. Peeking inside, she saw a pitch-black room where two figures were sitting motionless in the dark. The sight terrified her, and she stumbled backward, knocking over a shovel. The loud clang echoed, but incredibly, no one inside moved. She looked again. The two figures were still sitting like statues. Deeply disturbed, she told the principal that something was wrong with Alex's parents and that Alex might be in trouble. The principal promised to look into it, but again warned her to stay away. Later, while picking up some things at a local store, Justine was ambushed. A woman whom she didn't recognize grabbed her by the hair, threw her to the ground, and held a bottle to her face, screaming, "You came to the house, didn't you?" Before Justine could react, the woman poured the drink all over her face. An employee intervened and threw the crazed woman out. That night, she had a terrifying nightmare. She dreamt she was walking through the empty school. In her classroom, all 17 missing children were sitting at their desks with their heads down. The clock on the wall read 2:17. Suddenly, Alex looked up, a grotesque Joker-like smile stretching across his face. The horrifying image jolted her awake. She tried to go back to sleep, but as she lay down, she saw a strange woman with the same Joker-like face hovering on her ceiling. She screamed and woke up for real, realizing she had been dreaming inside a dream. The next day, Justine went back to Alex's house, determined to speak with him. She caught him outside, but he refused to talk, simply saying, "Don't follow me," before disappearing inside. She knocked on the door, yelling that she knew they were in there, but again, no one answered. This time, she didn't leave. She decided to camp out in her car, convinced that someone had to come out eventually. As day turned to night, she drifted off to sleep. Suddenly, the front door creaked open. Alex's mother emerged, holding a pair of scissors, and crept silently toward Justine's car. Seeing her asleep, she didn't wake her. Instead, she quietly snipped off a lock of Justine's hair.
And with that, Justine's part of the story ends, and our perspective shifts to Archer, the single father who had accused Justine of being a witch. His own son was among the missing, and he was consumed by grief and desperation. He spent his days rewatching the last recording of his son, searching for any possible clue. He constantly hounded the police, but they had no new information. He was the one who had followed Justine from the liquor store, terrorized her at her home, and written "witch" on her car. One night, Archer woke up suddenly. The time was 2:17 a.m. He heard a noise and thought it was his son. He searched the house frantically but found no one. Then the front door swung open on its own. He ran outside and saw his son in the distance, running in the airplane pose before disappearing into a nearby house. Archer chased after him, bursting into the house and searching every room. Upstairs, he found a figure lying in bed. It was his son. "Son, where did you go?" Archer sobbed, hugging him. "Forgive me. I wasn't there for you. I love you so much." As he cried, a sliver of light fell across the boy's face, revealing it wasn't his son at all, but the same horrifying Joker-like figure. Archer woke up in a cold sweat. It was just a nightmare, like Justine's, but it had given him a clue. He remembered that in the dream, his son had run toward a large radio tower. He took out a map and drew a straight line from his house in the direction of the tower. He then visited another parent's house and did the same thing, drawing a line from their home toward the tower. His theory was that since all the disappearances were connected, the children must be located where these lines intersected. He marked the intersection point on the map and drove to the location. On the way, he spotted Justine's car at a gas station. He approached her, but she was immediately defensive. "Leave me alone," she said. "I'm not a witch. I'm trying to find out who did this." Suddenly, they saw the principal running toward them, his face covered in blood, his arms outstretched in the airplane pose. He attacked Justine, strangling her. Archer jumped in to save her, but the principal, with inhuman strength and bulging eyes, overpowered him and began strangling him too.
Now we switch to the officer, Justine's friend. While on patrol, he spots a young man acting suspiciously near a house. The man tries to run, but the officer catches him. During a search, an injection needle pricks the officer's finger. The young man is a drug dealer. Furious, the officer punches him, then tends to his wound. This was the strange case he had mentioned to Justine. He lets the dealer go with a warning: get out of town and never come back. Later, we get another surprise. The officer is married to the same woman who attacked Justine in the store. She had become suspicious of his relationship with Justine. One day, while on patrol again, the officer spots the drug dealer still in town. Enraged, he yells at him and the dealer takes off running. The officer gives chase in his car, determined not to let him get away this time.
The story now follows the drug dealer. He lives in a tent in the woods and, despite the officer's warning, has continued his criminal activities. While planning a burglary, he ends up at Alex's house. He breaks in through a window, finding the house completely dark. Believing it's empty, he starts searching for valuables. In the faint glow of the TV screen, he sees the reflection of Alex's parents sitting silently on the couch. He apologizes, but then realizes they're completely motionless, like statues. Undeterred, he continues to steal their things. As he's about to leave, he hears a noise from the basement. He goes to investigate and makes a shocking discovery. All 17 missing children are there, alive, in the dark. Terrified, he flees. At a pawn shop, he sees a missing children's poster and realizes he could get a reward. He heads to the police station, but just as he arrives, he sees the officer. He runs, escaping into the woods. There, he hears a chilling laugh and sees a Joker-like figure in the distance pointing at him. He retreats to his tent, trying to convince himself it was a hallucination. But then, a shadow falls over the tent, and the zipper starts to open. The dealer grabs his needle and stabs blindly at the person entering. It's the officer! Furious, the officer is about to kill him when the dealer blurts out, "I know where the kids are! They're in the basement of that house!" The officer stops, handcuffs him, and forces the dealer to guide him to Alex's house. Leaving the dealer in the car, the officer goes to the door. Someone lets him in. Hours pass. As night falls, the door opens again. The officer emerges, but he's changed. He looks crazed and out of control. He marches to the car, drags the dealer out, and pulls him toward the house. Our next perspective is the principal's. After Justine warned him about Alex's family, he called them for a meeting. Instead of Alex's parents, a woman named Gladys arrived, claiming to be Alex's aunt. Her face was the same one from Justine's and Archer's nightmares. She explained that Alex's parents were unwell. The principal insisted on speaking to them directly, so Gladys left. Later that evening, Gladys showed up at the principal's home asking for a glass of water. It's here we learn the horrifying truth. Gladys is a witch, skilled in black magic. She pulls out a thorny branch, cuts her own hand, and then with a pair of scissors, snips a lock of the principal's friend's hair. She rings a small bell, and the principal instantly falls under her control. She wraps the hair around the branch and snaps it. Immediately, the principal attacks his friend, vomiting a black substance on him before brutally beating him to death. Gladys then takes out the lock of Justine's hair, the one that Alex's mother had cut, and performs the same ritual. This is what sent the principal running to the gas station to kill Justine. Back in the present, the possessed principal chases Justine out of the store. She jumps in her car, but he smashes the window with his bare hands, trying to grab her. She speeds away, but he pursues her on foot, running with inhuman speed like a missile, which explains the movie's title, Weapons. Archer gets in his own car and gives chase. Just as the principal is about to catch Justine, another car appears out of nowhere and slams into him, ending his life.
After the chaos, Archer apologizes to Justine, realizing she was innocent and a victim just like him. "I've never seen anything like that," Justine says. "He was fine just a few days ago." Archer agrees, but the way he was running, it was the same pose the children used. He shows her his map, pointing to the intersection of the lines he drew. One of the points was Alex's house. Finally, we see Alex's story, and all the secrets are revealed. When his Aunt Gladys, old and frail, came to live with them, she brought a strange plant. Soon after, Alex's parents began acting like emotionless robots, puppets under Gladys's control. Having read books about witches, she knew she was responsible. Gladys demonstrated her power by wrapping their hair around her thorny twig. When she broke it, his parents began violently hitting themselves. She stopped them by placing the twig in water, then threatened Alex, "If you want your parents to live, you will do exactly as I say." Gladys was using black magic with the plant to restore her youth and health. When she started to grow weak again, she told Alex she would free his parents if he brought her something belonging to each of his classmates. Desperate, Alex stole the name stickers from his classmates' desks. At 2:17 a.m., Gladys used the stickers to perform her ritual. All 17 children fell under her control, ran to her house, and were locked in the basement. Gladys kept them and Alex's parents trapped in the house, forcing Alex to care for them while he kept her terrible secret. Now we return to the present for the final confrontation. Archer and Justine arrive at the house. The officer, now a puppet, attacks them. Justine manages to kill him in self-defense. They kill the drug dealer next. Archer rushes to the basement to find his son, but instead finds Gladys, who used her magic to control him. Archer turns on Justine, but just then, Alex, having seen enough, runs to Gladys's room. He finds her magic branch and a lock of her hair. Remembering her rituals, he wraps Gladys's hair around the branch and snaps it. The black magic instantly backfires on her. All the controlled children turn on Gladys, attacking her viciously. They kill her, and with her death, the spell is broken. Archer is freed and finds his son among the children. Alex is reunited with his parents, but it's not a happy ending. His parents and many of the children remain in a catatonic, lifelike state. 2 years later, only some have recovered. The reason is that Gladys was a witch who fed on the life force of her victims to stay young. Alex's parents were her puppets for so long that their life force was completely drained. The children who recovered and Archer were lucky because Gladys hadn't had enough time to fully consume their energy. The rest were left as living statues, empty shells, trapped in that state forever. And with that, the story ends.